So next up is backing vocals. जैसे कि मैंने last tutorial में बताया था, there is only one channel of backing vocals going on, but there are a set of choirs that is happening, which was actually dummy choirs for Bhuvan. So if you have not watched the video, the link is in the description. So please go and visit, because what I'm about to say will make a lot more sense if you have watched the previous video. So these are my 3 choir tracks. We can just listen to them और एक बार देखते हैं कि इनका टोन कैसा है मेन वोकल्स के साथ.
छोड़ जाएगी कुछ ऐसी नमी, तू जाने बिना मेरे दिल का हाल टुकड़े टुकड़े कर चल पड़ी. अलग सा है ये इंतजार, एक आस है मन में दबी हुई, ये सोच में मैं डूबा रहूं क्या बनते हैं.
So the secret behind this is nothing but just very hard tuning. बिकॉज एक गाने के लेयरिंग में आपको पता नहीं चलेगा, बट इफ यू हैव अ वेरी हार्ड ट्यून, इफ यू हैव अ परफेक्ट पिच वोकल, इट स्टार्ट साउंडिंग लाइक अ कीबोर्ड, बिकॉज वोकल का जो मॉड्यूलेशन है दैट इज द यूनिकनेस दैट बेसिकली मेक्स इट साउंड लाइक अ वोकल ट्रैक. इफ यू टेक दैट अवे यू कैन मेक इट साउंड लाइक अ सिंथेसाइजर. सो अगर मैं आपको ये सुनाऊं विदाउट द ट्यूनिंग, दिस इज हाउ इट साउंड्स. So what I've done actually is, आप देख सकते हैं, this is the same file which I've duplicated 3 times, and there are separate notes playing, and this is not that Bhuvan sung it differently. I wanted to make a chord very later on, जब हम vocal recording करके वापस आ चुके थे. This is when I decided to construct a chord out and give that vibe to the song. So this is the first harmony layer. This is the second. And then this is the top one. So we are starting on a F sharp, moving on to a G, and then moving on to a B on one. Then on the second we are starting on a D, we are moving on to E, and then we are moving on to a G. And then on the top one we are taking a B and a D. So the first chord we have is A, D and F sharp. So that's your D major chord. इस तरह से मैंने vocal को use करके एक D major chord मारा है, which is also the chord that is playing on all the other instruments at the same time. This is the main reason why these harmonies sound very thick and lush, because they are in harmony with all the other instruments which are also playing a D major chord at the same instance. So harmony के processing के लिए I have a very similar EQ done. I have a 12 dB cut on that low mids. I have that 2.4 का cut. I did not want to do that 200 वाला cut on the harmonies because it was not there इतना evidently. And यहाँ पे I am countering my old perspective of the vocals, because harmonies को मेरे को वो bright sheen वाला vibe देना था. So instead of reducing a dB, I have added a dB in the high shelf of the EQ. Then there is your regular compression, more or less similar settings, and आपके पास Shep's Omni channel है, which is doing very similar to what the main vocal is doing. And then all the harmonies have more or less the same processing, and that's how the harmonies or the choir of the song has come together. So next हम बढ़ते हैं strings पे. Now इस गाने के strings production और programming में there are 2 main parts. There was a mock-up string जो मैंने production के time पे basic एक overview और vibe देने के लिए बनाया था, and there are amazing parts played by none other than Shirish Malhotra on this track. He's played amazing violins and violas to give that realistic orchestral vibe to the parts and the song wherever needed. So अगर हम strings देखते हैं, this is the mock-up that you can hear. मैं एक बार live strings म्यूट करके आपको सिर्फ mock-up strings के साथ ये गाने का सेक्शन सुनाता हूँ, ताकि you get a clear idea of what the mock-up strings are doing.
याद आए तो मिल ही जाऊंगा तुझको ये.
So on this mock-up, Shirish played a very beautiful but very simple line. इससे मेरे को मेरे mock-up में काफ़ी humanization डालने का मौका मिला, because the mock-up was holding the main vibe and feel of the track in that section. So similarly to these sections, there's a lot of strings spit out, and there are a lot of improvisations जो मैंने बाद में place किए हैं गानों में, and they were just sounding right. And this is what you can do after a recording of an instrument. आप काफ़ी cut paste करके you can figure out what part suits which part of the song best. So there are a lot of small things that the violin is doing, but it is coming at the right places at the right time. And that was the main requirement from our side towards the song, is हम लोगों को overcrowd नहीं करना था ये production, तो काफ़ी bare और minimum रखना था.
चुभते सन्ना
now on to the recording and processing of the strings. And the way we recorded the strings was we had two mics in a stereo configuration and one mono spot mic, ताकि मैं उसको कभी भी add in और निकाल सकूँ track में wherever I needed that attention. But I ended up just using all three of the mics because उसका balance इतना superb आ रहा था and the whole imaging that Julian bhai created with the three mics was really really good. The stereo technique that we used for the stereo pair was AB, or you can also call it spaced pair. So go look it out on YouTube, and we'll also be covering a lot of more stereo techniques in the forthcoming tutorials on this channel. So strings ke processing mein, again I have a minor EQ for little bit of tone shaping. There was a lot of EQ done by Julian bhai and he set the tone kind of straight for the song. There's a slight boost at 1.2 kilohertz जिससे कि मेरे को वो bow और strings का जो contact वाला frequency हो, that's just getting a little bit up. So it's adding to the huskiness of the strings. There is a little bit of cut at 2.7. Again, like the whole vibe of the production is really really warm, so that 2.4 to 2.7 वाला range, the byte range was not really working for the song. So हर track में आप देखेंगे कि कहीं ना कहीं जहाँ frequencies हैं ये cut हो रहा है. There was no need for a high frequency boost as they were just fine and they were just the right amount of brightness to the strings. I added a low pass filter on a very very high frequency. This is almost 30 kilohertz. Of course it is not audible because it's 30,000 or 30 kilohertz, but it gives that nice slope and shielding to the high frequencies so that they nicely roll off. So इसके अलावा मैंने waves का एक plugin use किया है, waves F6, which is a dynamic EQ. So इस case में मैंने एक 6 kilohertz का dip दिया है. So strings ज़्यादा shrilly ना हो, they stay in the pocket that I've made and created in the production of the track. And this is just a fail-safe measure than a tone shaping tool. So moving on to effects. मेरा ओरिजिनल प्लान था आप लोगों को वॉक थ्रू कराने का थ्रू एवरी सिंगल इफेक्ट दैट आई यूज, बट आई रियलाइज्ड कि it doesn't make sense just to show कि मैंने ये इफेक्ट यहाँ डाला है वो इफेक्ट वहाँ डाला है. I rather just pick up one effect and tell you the idea behind it. So one specific section is the reverse piano that you hear after the first chorus.
तुझको यही ना भी आए तो समझ जाऊंगा थी मुझे में ही कुछ कमी, बातें जो कहनी थी तुमसे वो कहे बिना.
So the song was being constructed in a very mirror-like manner, जहाँ पहले chorus होने के बाद we jump right back to the start of the arrangement of the verses, and the song has a very similar progression again till the second chorus. तो हम लोग चाहते थे कि this basically sounds like a rewind, like a tape rewind, कि you're starting again but then you're adding more and more elements to the song. तो इस तरह से हम लोगों ने एक छोटी चीज़ को एक anchor बना के उसको use किया है. So this is nothing complicated. This is just one piano का root note that I'm playing on this bar. And उसी को मैंने बाउंस करके रिवर्स किया है and that is being followed by 2 bars before. So apart from this, I've also added one octave up of the same root note that I've reversed. So there are 2 notes playing straight and 1 note playing reverse. So that's it for today guys. I hope आप लोगों को मजा आया हो. This concludes the mini series of my track with Bhuvan called Ajnabee. So please like, share and subscribe for a lot more intuitive content on our YouTube channel, and do follow us on Instagram. The link is in the description. This is Omkar Taman from the Audio Guys signing off. I'll see you next Friday.